If you know your enemies and know yourself, you will not be imperiled in 100 battles. These are the wise words of Sun Tzu, a great Chinese military strategist, and I intend to follow this sage advice. I'm Globku from Magical Noob, and today we're gonna talk about your enemies in Dying Light, all the different types of infected. Welcome to Dying Talk episode 6. Before we get down on zombie types, last episode I asked for your help on figuring out what the electric upgrade would do to your weapons. A ton of you guys said it could stun your enemies, and if that's the case, the chance is going to be really low because we've seen tons of footage with electric weapons, and the only place where we see a stun is right here for a brief moment. Soja also left a comment saying that it sets a chain reaction damaging other zombies, which seems to be the case, as we can see from this clip from IGN. After hitting a zombie, sparks of lightning seem to be connecting to other zombies, probably doing damage. So I want to say thanks to everyone who left a comment. I think now at least we have some idea of what electricity does and how useful it is. But let's move on to today's topic, the zombie types, or infected as Techland is calling them. Everyone has been infected by some mysterious disease, and that's why in the video game world everyone is calling the zombies infected. I don't believe the word zombie will ever be spelled out even once, so when you hear infected, it's just their way of saying zombies. Thanks to the day-night cycle, the infected have sort of different forms or abilities, but it's nothing so different that it will double the amount of infected types that exist, which is exactly what Techland is out there saying and trying to sell to you guys. None of that. At night, all the infected types gain two abilities. They can run and they can climb objects. That's it. They don't gain different abilities depending on what type they are, at least not that we know so far. So as I'm explaining the different types to you over the course of this video, keep in mind that at night they will also be able to run and climb buildings. Got it? Then let's get started. We'll begin with the infected that you'll see all the time. They're calling these the biters. These are what most people are calling the normal zombies. They are slow, they attack you with their arms and their mouth. That's why you call them biters. Sometimes they'll be holding melee weapons, but as far as I can tell, that doesn't happen much. The biters can also be wearing a hazmat suit, and I could almost call this a different infected type. Almost. They behave exactly the same way as the biters do, but they're wearing this big flamboyant yellow suit, which has a gas tank on its back. If you hit the gas tank, give it a couple of seconds and it will explode, damaging all the zombies around it. Another common infected are the runners. These haven't fully turned yet, so they're not as degraded, so to speak. Since they're not as degraded, they can still run. Because they still have some of their humanity retained within them, sometimes they might even make you question yourself on whether you just hit a human or an infected. But make no mistake, they will kill you if given the chance. These are the common infected, the ones you'll find all the time, so let's move on to some more interesting enemies. Let's look at some big dudes, starting with the Demolisher. He immediately reminded me of the tank on Left 4 Dead. Big guy, deals heavy damage, but he also charges at the player. Now you can see the animation before he starts to charge, kinda gives you a hint to prepare yourself and avoid him by sidestepping, so keep an eye out for that. It's also a good idea to keep an eye out for cars, because he can just pick them up and throw them at you. Yeah, no kidding. And did you notice that when he came in, he broke the wall? You may think you're safe when all of a sudden a Demolisher just came in through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man. Fortunately enough, he's just as dumb as the other infected. So you can try to position yourself in a way that his attacks will hit the other biters that are fighting alongside him. So they'll get hit by its charge attack or the cars he throws. Next we have another big guy, the Miner. I guess they gave him this name because he's wearing mining clothes, but he usually doesn't carry a pickaxe as you would expect from an infected with this name. Instead, he carries a heavy hammer. He's got two attacks you should look out for. A ground smash attack and a spin move, kinda like a whirlwind attack. The hammer is slow and the miner takes a while to gather his strength after attacking, and that's where you should strike, because there's a really big opening there. These are the two big guys, but we're far from done. The next one is called the Toad. He can spit green acid from his mouth, and that will do some damage to the player and also blind us temporarily. His spit can also hit other infected, and since they don't care whether their skin is burning or not, this just makes them more dangerous to the player, cause all of a sudden you're fighting a biter who has acid skin. The toad is a bit more agile than the other infected. Even during the day he can leap across rooftops, but is also the one with the least amount of health, and dies with only a few hits from a melee weapon. According to the Dying Light wiki, we still don't know the name of this next infected, so I'm gonna call them Exploders, for reasons that are about to be very obvious. They kind of act like suicide bombers, or zombie bombers if you prefer. If they get shot or if they get close to the player, they'll explode in a wave of black blood that will blind us temporarily and also do damage. So keep your distance or get away as soon as you see the exploding animation starting. The next one is a little bit disturbing. They're called the Screamers, and it's very disturbing mainly because these are children who were infected. We haven't seen much of this infected type apart from these two shots in the E3 trailer, and boy, that's really messed up. According to the wiki, the Screamers can run very fast and their screams can affect the player, distorting their vision and rendering us unable to fight. The screams might also attract other nearby infected to that location. If you're in the street, there's no reason to fear the Screamers because they will stay inside their former houses, the ones where they lived when they were alive. They just stay there in one spot, sitting quietly or eating a corpse. If you hear a girl screaming inside the house, careful, it might be an infected child. And the last one, and possibly the most dangerous of all the infected, is the Volatile. As far as we know, these are the only infected type that will only appear at night. Every other that's been mentioned so far is around at any time of the day. The Volatiles have dark skin and mandible mouths, which look like their lower jaw has been split in two. They're the main reason why the night is scary. The best way to avoid them is by sneaking. Usually they hunt in packs, and if they see you, run for your life. And even that might not be enough, because they are very fast, almost as fast as you, the player, and they're able to jump over obstacles and buildings just like you can. You can try to hide from them, and eventually they'll give up on searching for you, but since they're really fast, you don't have that much time to find a hiding spot. At this point, we don't know if the Volatiles can even be killed by the player, or if your only option is to run away. But we'll look out for any information that comes out about this and any of the other infected types that will try to kill us on Dying Light. I realize I haven't mentioned the Night Hunter because that's a completely different thing. It is player controlled and that guy will take a whole episode to talk about. I really wanted to make him my next episode, but too many people have requested combat moves on my previous video, so I'll do that first. I succumb to your will, masters of the comments section. Speaking of which, is there any infected type I missed? Is there any infected you've seen in other games like Left 4 Dead, Dead Island or Silent Hill that you'd like to see a version of in Dying Light? Leave me a comment below, and while you're at it, click the like button and subscribe for more Dying Light videos. I've been Globke. Take care everyone, see you next time.
Terminated.